Hey Arvin, The Weeknd just lost $3 million after selling his LA penthouse. How could that happen?
He overpaid when he bought it, and then he wasn't patient enough to hold on to it. And the COVID situation just really destroyed him, because as soon as COVID started, no one really wanted to be in the condos anymore. He must have been the only person who lost money when he bought before COVID and sold after COVID. He bought this condo for $21 million in December 2019, and he just sold it for a $3 million discount, because as soon as COVID started, everyone wanted big lands, and even though this is a huge penthouse, close to 8,000 square foot of living space on one floor, which is pretty awesome. Should we review the property?
Let's do it.
All right. This is the beautiful condo. It's a penthouse. It takes the entire floor of the 18th floor. So it's, it's a gorgeously done. Here's the transaction, by the way. You can see when he bought it for and when he sold it at a $4 million loss. But should we go over the 10 factors of quality really quick?
Let's do it, Arvin. Tell me what you think about the location.
Okay, this is tricky because it's kind of Wilshire Corridor, which is not the most prestigious area in LA. It's good, but it's not the most prestigious. But if you ask the residents, do you live in Wilshire Corridor? They would say absolutely not. We live in Beverly Hills. But technically it's not Beverly Hills, but it's the last building on Wilshire Corridor with amazing views. I have to give the location an 8.
Location 8, all right. And tell me what you think about the building.
Okay, architecturally speaking, I think it's very neutral. They didn't take too many risks with it. You got a helipad on top. I've never seen anyone use that. But I would say architecturally it's safe. It's nice, I'll give it an 8.
All right, 8 for the building. And let's talk about the building's amenities.
Okay, so comparing it with some of the other buildings, I don't see any insanely popular items. They have a tiny little swimming pool on the bottom, as you can see. I would give it a 7.
What do you know about the HOA?
So HOA is kind of crazy in this building. When Weeknd bought this, it was around $6,500. By the time he sold it, it's around $8,500. So
wow.
It just grew by $2,000 in 3 years. And it might have to do with the fact that, again, I still believe, check on this yourself, but still some of the units in the building might not have sold. Because when you drive by, the lower units look empty to me. And it's been like that for a long time. So I would say it's one of the worst. I would give it a 4.
4 for HOA.
Yeah, it's too high.
And let's talk about the unit's orientation.
Okay, so this is probably one of the best you can think. This unit is a penthouse unit, meaning it takes the entire floor. So the orientation, you got east, west, north, south, everything, you have it, right? In orientation, I also take into account, like if you're next to something that it's not desirable. In this case, Wilshire Boulevard is pretty loud, and there's a lot of fire trucks and ambulances that go up and down to the UCLA hospital. So that's a negative. But at the 18th floor, I can't really credit too much to that. I'm gonna rate it at 9.
9 for unit orientation.
Yeah.
And so the next one would be privacy. What do you think about the privacy?
Look, you got a neighbor above you, you got a neighbor below you, you got no other neighbors. I'm sure you can go wild, but I would believe, considering this is a relatively a newer building, maybe 10, 15 years ago it was built, it should be soundproof, it should be well isolated. I would give the privacy factor a 9 as well.
9 for privacy, all right. Yeah, I don't see anybody being able to look into that unless you're looking with the telescope across the city.
Yeah, and it's probably tinted too, so you won't even be able to see it inside.
That's right. Okay, well, this is going to be interesting. Tell me what you think about the views.
So the views are amazing, except the, I would say, the west side of the building, which you're going to see all the other buildings in Wilshire Corridor. The north is going to be beautiful. You're going to see like that Amalfi Coast view where you see the houses on the hills. Beautiful. You see all the beautiful villas. That's a huge positive to me. If you have the south's exposure to get, the natural sun coming, the homes on the hills is beautiful. It's green, mountainous, it's beautiful. And then to your east, you got downtown LA view, which is amazing. And to south, you get the vast LA land and maybe a little bit of ocean in the back. I would rate this view as a 9.
What do you think about the unit scale?
Look, the scale is good. The ceiling heights are solid. They put the elevators in the middle, which they typically do a lot of times. So you get this circular kind of a type of a layout in the house. And you end up with these really sometimes long, narrow hall, like rooms, like this room where you can see the kitchen and there's two sides to it. There's still enough depth there, but that's just one of the negatives if you end up putting the elevators in the middle of the house. But the positive side is that you don't jeopardize any views, right? In this case, maybe when they were designing the building, maybe it would have been beneficial to put the elevators on the west side of the building where the other Wilshire Corridor buildings are. Then you would have had bigger volume rooms with more square dimensions that you could have done. I would give the scale for this building an 8.
8 for scale.
Yeah.
All right. Now talk to me about the layout. What do you think about the layout?
Again, I think the layout has the same issue. It's minor issue, I would say. It's a little bit circular. You got to go, around, which is not horrible, but not ideal either. Otherwise, you get the wow factor when you walk into the unit. You have the elevators open up and you're going to get those views right away. So I'll give the layout also an 8.
8 for layout. And finally, talk to me about the finishes.
The finishes are top of the line. When Weeknd bought this house, it was already done. He's done some probably very minor work to it. But even then it was very masculine, done right, but masculine. And in my experience, that's a little bit tricky. Even if you like masculine finishes, most families prefer feminine finishes, a little bit lighter in colors, not so many dark colors. And considering this is a really expensive condo, the chances of a bachelor person buying this is less than a family buying it. So when you are designing your interior, take that in consideration that lighter colors could bring in bigger buyer pool. But for that reason, I'll deduct a point or two. I'll give it an 8.
8 for finishes. All right, that gives us a total score of 78.
Not bad. It is
condo.
Overall a good building with a kind of a mixed history of being a solid building in a great location, but never filling up. Should we jump into the market?
Let's talk about the market.
All right, let's go to the market. All right, let's go to zipsmart.ai and take a look at the market. Okay, so let's go 90024. Look, the rental prices are forecasted to go up slightly. This is what really worries me. This supply month over month is increased by 17%. That's not good. Supply amount of inventory on the market compared to same time last year is pretty much the same as last year. And we've made this argument, you hear it in the news all the time, that there's not enough inventory. There's a lot less inventory. People are, holding on to their properties. And it's only 2% less, which is negligible. You can pretty much say it's the same as last year. And that's dangerous for this time of the year. And especially when you consider compared to last month, the inventory grew by 15%. That doesn't make me feel comfortable because we know demand is going to be flat. And if inventory keeps coming up, we're going to have problems. So when you click on the month over month data, demand is down 3%. Let's say it's the same from last month. Days on the market is also the same. And then when we jump into the year over year data, again, supply is flat. Demand is up actually 19% compared to same month last year. Days on the market is also the same. So I would say it's probably gonna stay, it's gonna trend slowly down in the next year. You're gonna see some people who have to liquidate and sell their properties. And those are the opportunities, right? I tell my clients, you got to be super ready. You got to know the pulse of the market. You got to be actively putting offers on the market to know the pulse of the market. So sharpen your pencils, study the market, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. The content of this video is purely my personal opinion. If you want to support the channel, become a subscriber. Tell me in the comments a property that you think I should review. You find it interesting. I would love to do that. And I will see you in the next video. Take care.